and someone's like, hey, where's your guest? When are they going to start?
Oh, that was probably Steve calling. It did have an English accent, I noticed.
Well, everybody, we do have Rob McHale and Steve Bonham back in the studio, and they are in the midst of their bicontinental tour. I've been looking out, and they will be all over the southeast U.S. and then all over England, and I don't know geographically whether it's the southeast, north. Anyway, it's all over England. They will be over the next month, right? Month or two?
Yeah, over the next month. Yeah, in the Midlands, and then down in the south, and then in London over there. And then I'm going to come home, and Steve's going to keep hitting it.
Good. It's everybody get out to their websites and keep up on them. RobMcHale.com. And Steve's is thelongroadband.net, but you don't need to do any of that because they're here to share their wonderful music with us right now.
Okay, it was a song I think I did last time I was here, but it's called, what's it called? Wrapped Up in You, which is a very small hit on UK country records, UK country radio, which in the UK probably went about 30 people heard it. Lay down my gun, the long day was done, I was looking to light my load. Stop rolling dice and learn to think twice, I said goodbye to the road. Wrapped up in you, wrapped up in you, wrapped up in you, wrapped up in you. When you came into view, it was all I could do but to stand up and open the gate. Something I would find but do things to my mind, gave up all resistance to my fate. Wrapped up in you, wrapped up in you, wrapped up in you, wrapped up in you. Put my hat on the back of your door. Eyes catch a fire like a lighter on the wire. Couldn't help but come back for more. Wrapped up in you, wrapped up in you, wrapped up in you, wrapped up in you. You're a boy turned lover, you're an angel under the cover. You're the best thing that happened to me. There's nothing that is fake, there's no. Well, you whispered in my ear, there is nothing there to fear, just surrender to a night of bliss. Rolling and tumbling into heaven, I'm stumbling, I never had a lover like this. Wrapped up in you, 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 wrapped up in you.
Very nice. We'll be pitching that after the show as a theme song for the Ace Bandage Company.
It's one of my favorite companies. I use their products regularly. Steve, that was a fantastic song. I didn't even know you were going to be here today until I think it was yesterday afternoon. I found out, and I thought, fantastic. Steve's going to be here with Rob. It's going to be a great show. What have you been doing lately?
Hiding.
Apparently.
Yeah, I've been hiding. I mean, the last 2.5 years. I think that's 2.5 years since I...
Feels like a decade.
I was here, yeah. And quite a lot has happened.
Really?
You know, I think digging a hole and sitting in it for the last 2.5 years has been a really sensible approach.
It worked out
You
well.
know, in England, we have a lot of news. I mean, there'll be even more news when I get back, you know, I'm sure. But, you know, we've had new king since I last saw you.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Yeah. Lots, in fact, ever since I last met you, I think things have started to happen, you know.
Well, unlike over in one of those other countries, Scandinavia, somewhere,
Denmark. where
Denmark,
they
your new king didn't
dethrone
dethrone
their children.
all their children. So that was nice. So, Steve, real quickly, in this hole you've been in, has this been a hole that's lent itself to songwriting?
It has, indeed, and writing. I've written 2 books, which have both come out and are doing quite nicely. And I in the sort of gaps when you were allowed out, I actually finished off a solo album, which I've been teasing around with for about 4 or 5 years. Whenever we've been in the studio with the band and they've gone to lunch or something, I've done a bit more and finally finished it. It's called Standing Stones. And
Where can we get these books?
Right?
What are these
the
books
are up
about?
there on Amazon, yeah. There's one about a crazy walk I did from the top of the Atlas Mountains out in the Sahara Desert, following the old camel routes, and had quite more than my fair share of adventures on that. And the other one is very topical. Was called How to Survive and Thrive in an Impossible World.
Oh, that'll come in handy.
appropriate.
A
I
self-help
need
book.
that.
Well,
Ordering
we
in.
are everybody going to have what we call a songwriter round, even though they're sort of sitting in a line. We'll imagine in a alternate universe they're in a circle.
They're on the arc of a very large circle.
Oh, that is true. And so, Rob, you're next.
Well, thank you. It's great to see you all again, and it's been a while.
It's
a couple of years. 3, I'm going to guess.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, and I remember hearing about Mama when I was here before, and,
Yes.
and I guess she's developed some momentum.
She's doing the work, and good work it is.
Yeah, that's great to hear.
We'll suggest you change your last name to, instead of Molasses, Mama Momentum.
Mama, that's good.
That's hard to say, Mama Momentum.
Texting her now.
Yes.
That's
Well, Rob, we're going to hear as much of your fine music as we can. So what do you have for us first?
Well, this is a fairly new song. I wrote it about a lady that moved to the Carolina province from Ireland. Her name was Anne McCormack, and she ended up marrying a guy with the last name of Bonnie, and her name became Anne Bonnie. And then she ran off with another guy, which happens, and but she kept her name, her married name, and they went out and pirated around down in the Caribbean for a couple of years till they got caught, and they took the whole crew back to Port Royal, Jamaica, and hanged everybody except for her. And
Because you can't hang women. That's just wrong.
well, you could.
Not if they're pregnant, though. There was a story of a couple others.
Exactly
Well,
right.
we're going to find out in the
No,
song.
you're exactly right. So she was with child, as was Mary Read, and Mary Read died in prison, and there's no record of Anne Bonny. So the legend says that her wealthy father, the merchant in South Carolina, arranged to have her escorted right out of there and brought back to the Carolinas, where she married a man by the name of Huntley and had 8 children and lived to the age of 85. So
That's a ripe old age back then.
I'll confirm that in a few months. I'm going to go try to find that marker.
But I like the romance of the way you put it, went pirating around.
She was, and very good at it, I'd say so. But so this is a song called Anne Bonny. I once met a girl at a port in Carolina who said she was a pirate, not a pirateer. So I raised up my glass and I gave her a toast to the prettiest girl on this mid-Atlantic coast. Anne Bonny was her name, a pirate of the sea. She could stand with any man, up your glass to our good pirate lass. Yo-ho, another round of rum. Raise up your glass to our good Irish lass. And Bonnie was her name, my good pirate queen. She could take any ship at just 23. If they ever catch us, I know I will swing, but I'd fight 100 men to save my pirate queen. I'd fight 1,000 men to save my Irish queen. We'll sing yo-ho, another round of rum. Raise up your glass to our good pirate lass. Yo-ho, another round of rum. Raise up your glass to our good Irish lass. I once met a girl at a port in Carolina. She was a pirate, not a pirateer.
Rob McHale, very nice. Rob, we had chatted with Steve about this. So for you, the last couple of years, and you mentioned this is a newer song, how has it been trying to write songs?
Good. I just let them come as they will. I've written a few that I like, so I've been performing some of those, and have a lot in the works that I'm just waiting to develop a little bit better.
So is there a record in your future?
There is. First, I want to release a video this winter, and I'll start recording also. So maybe the first of the year, and put together another record. And don't know about the release date on it, but I should record it this winter.
So this will be a music video, I guess.
Music video, yeah.
And is it just you sitting there playing, or is there some sort of movie going on?
Well, there's a theme with it. There's a song that I wrote called "When the Water Is Gone" that I might play in a little while, and the theme is about some of the issues we're having, and in particular the West in the U.S. with the Colorado River and
shocking,
and the trouble they're having, and but it's worldwide. They've had trouble in Iran. There was a city there that actually lost all their power. They didn't have enough water to run the hydroelectric plant. So it's just a worldwide issue that we have to address somehow.
Well, and then the majority of Pakistan is flooded right now.
Yeah.
It's underwater.
Yeah, feast or famine.
Horrifying.
Just one thing or another. So.
Well, as we said, we're going to alternate songs here, and everybody, we're going to tell you a little bit as soon as Bob comes back from going down yonder about that we are streaming, but I can tell you a little bit about how to get to that. Go on YouTube, Pass the Hat. You can see the movie of Rob and Steve Return to WHUP, the sequel.
The sequel.
And also, if you don't have access to the internet, but you're sitting right down the street in Hillsboro, you can listen to us, as always, on 104.7.
Yes, 104.7
FM. I never do it that way. Or WHUPFM.org.
You know how I stream it is through the TuneIn app. There's a radio app. I think a lot of people have it. And you can find WHUP on both Radio Garden and on TuneIn. So if you want to listen in your car through your phone, do that.
Is TuneIn the one that has the whole map of the world with
That's Radio Garden.
Radio Garden? Well,
darn, I
and then
love
when we can find Steve when he's hiding out in some little shire.
I'm so doing
over
that.
there. In some little shire radio station, can zoom right. It's very cool.
It's so
Anyway,
cool.
we are here to listen to music, not to babble on. So, Steve, what do you have for us next?
This is a new one too, and this is the only really melancholy one I suppose I'm going to do this evening.
Rob will make up for that.
Yeah. This one of my oldest friends was a guy called Paul Bunting, and we were at school together, and we didn't see each other for a while. But he's the reason I write songs. He was always incredibly gifted songwriter, and fortunately we reunited in the last 3 or 4 years, and got to know each other again and played concerts and festivals and various fundraising things. His other role, as well as a beautiful songwriter, was as a psychiatric nurse, and he was a guy who would work with the people no one else would work with, homeless schizophrenics, that kind of. He was a remarkable guy, and his loss last year, he didn't die of COVID, he died of a heart attack. It's something that's deeply moved me, and I just remember people like him who keep the world together and keep us all going, and that feeling of like, I can't believe it happened to him. So this song is called This Weird World. My brother Paul, who wrote the songs of those he knew, such sad sweet songs to cherish love and what was true. But this weird world took those songs away. This weird world we live in today. The last time we spoke, if I knew then what I know now, I'd have held his hand, caught the moment there somehow. But this weird world took his words away. This weird world we live in today. What's that you say? Nothing stays the same. The tumbling dice, it's a poor man's game. The wheel turns round, we gotta let go to another place that's hard to know. He said it then. Through it all we rise and fall. The flame won't die if we stand strong and we stand tall. And the weird world grows cold in the night. This weird world can't turn out the light. What's that you say? Nothing stays the same. The tumbling dice, it's a poor man's game. The wheel turns round, we gotta let go to another place when time is slow. My brother Paul, who wrote the songs of those he knew.
Very nice. Steve Bonham, an ode to his departed friend. Excellent. Wonderful. Rob, we had talked at the beginning of the show that there are going to be some live performances. What are the next ones coming up in case people want to track you and get to see you live?
Well, tomorrow night we are at Summit Coffee in Davidson.
I've heard of that place.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? It's and we'll be there from 7 to 9.
Great. Will this be outside, maybe?
I don't think so. It's
No?
it's supposed to get a little chilly tomorrow evening.
Okay, well, so
today was our warm day.
Wonderful, cozy upstairs listening room.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love that.
a great spot, and yeah, can't wait till you come back
Well.
there. And so we're there on Saturday night, and then Tuesday we are in Hickory at the Hickory Library, Patrick Beaver
Nice.
Memorial Library there at 5:30. And then Thursday, we're over in Winston-Salem at the Renolda branch.
Oh, that'll be nice.
And then Friday at Catawba Coffee in Mount Holly, 7 to 9. And then Saturday in Statesville, at the Statesville Main Library there.
So you're making I just plotted these on the map, and
Yeah.
that's a great little tour you have
It
planned.
is, yeah, it should be fun. We have a day or two off and
Yeah.
can relax. Maybe we'll go kayaking or something around here.
Very
Do you
nice.
mind if I ask how I have not heard of a lot of people getting library gigs? How does that happen? Because as a library patron, I would be delighted by that. How does that happen for you?
Oh, robmchale.com. Just send me a note. And but well here, they don't really do much of that in this area or
Okay.
in Greensboro.
Okay.
But well, I do a lot of historical songs.
Okay.
So I write songs about Jesse James and Custer and Woody Guthrie and so forth. So it's a historical presentation mainly.
Okay.
And I tell stories that might be a little bit more extended than I might tell somewhere like this. And so people come to hear those. We have good crowds. So it works out very well. I was just up in Massachusetts earlier in the year, and so it kind of works every place.
Well, that's why we've come here tonight to hear
Yeah.
a historical
Oh,
song
yeah.
or any other type of song you'd like to play. We'd love to hear.
Well, so this is a new song. It's about a guy, an older legend from the 1900s, and he was born down in Hazelhurst, Mississippi in 1911, a year before Woody Guthrie. And he's one that had a little bit of trouble at a gig, and they asked him to go put the guitar down, and he was so embarrassed he left town. And came back about a year later to the same place, and one of the great bluesmen, Son House, was there, and he said, "Hey, Mr. House, can I try this again? I have my own guitar." And he's like, "Okay." And he wanted to give the guy another try, and he started playing all these songs like I Think I'll Dust My Broom and Sweet Home Chicago and Crossroad Blues. And
Good thing he came back.
It is, and he just brought the house down, and from that day on, he was the king of the blues. But a legend started that night, and they wondered how he learned to play in a year at that level, because he was doing things with the guitar and no one had seen yet. And they said, well, he must have sold his soul to the devil on the way out of town. So he had a very successful, although short, career and toured and even had some dates on the books that he didn't make. But one aspect of the legend says they found him dead on the side of the road with no apparent injuries, and the devil had come to collect his due.
Huh?
Yeah, that's what I say. This is called The Hell to Pay. When the morning breaks, when the moon rises, when the sun rises, when the moon 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 rises and the sun is rising. It's time to pay. When the morning breaks, gonna be hell to pay. When the morning breaks. In Mississippi, I look for the truth, but I met the devil man. Nothing left to lose. Oh, I sold my soul, and I left there with the blues. Oh, when you sell your soul, someday you pay. Down at the crossroads, you'll hear him say, gonna be hell to pay. When the morning breaks, and the sun is rising, it's time to pay. When the morning breaks, gonna be hell to pay. When the morning breaks. When the morning breaks.
That was some fine bluesing.
Rob McHale singing about Robert Johnson, and people have said that about Bob Johnson when they see the beautiful work coming out of his workshop that he sold his soul to the devil. Also,
Yeah, must have soul.
They might be right.
For that woodworking gift that you have.
yes.
I have to know about that gorgeous guitar that you're playing. The sound coming out of it is, I'm lucky I get to wear the headphones and get to hear what's coming out of your guitar. Can you tell us about it?
Well, it was locally made right here in Hillsboro, where we are now.
Oh, wow.
Is that a West Lamb guitar?
This is a pre-war guitar
Yeah.
company.
Yeah, West Lamb.
Whoa.
And
He makes fantastic
so,
guitars.
yeah, Granadillo sides and
Torrified top, probably.
torrified. Yeah, the whole thing's torrified, and I
Uh,
guess, and the
They
way
cook them so that they age 40
Right.
years old.
So it's supposed to sound like it's my age, about 80.
Well,
years old or
sounds
so.
wonderful.
Right, and he uses forms from the Martin Guitar Factory, if I remember correctly.
Well, it does look like a
Yeah,
Martin.
yeah, it's modeled after the OM.
Right.
So same size as that guitar that Steve was playing. So,
And
yeah.
Rob, you were using, everybody knows what a capo is, or most people do, but you were using a partial capo. So what kind of weird voodoo were you concocting there with
Well, that's
that?
just what it was. And if I told you, then everybody would know.
You'd have to kill me.
I would.
Well, we don't want to hear the secrets, but we,
So we have something else to talk about.
everybody, it is a time as we are encumbered to give our legal ID. This is WHUP LP Hillsboro. And we are so fortunate to have an Hour 2 sponsor, Bob.
Yes, we are.
This is where you all are spokesmodels.
Yes, and y'all may have noticed I was missing for the last 15 minutes or so because I had to run fetch this because it is that fresh. Support for Pass the Hat is sweetly provided by Matthew's Chocolates, 104 North Churton Street, Hillsboro, North Carolina, the finest in chocolate and chocolate accessories for all of your chocolate needs. And let's face it, you have chocolate needs.
I mean, yeah.
That's cool.
Every guest on Pass the Hat gets one of these custom-made, super fresh 1-pound chocolate bars from Matthew's. I didn't read the ingredients on this one. If you can flip it over on the back, it'll tell you what's in it. In case you happen to be allergic to it, you can give it to me.
Or, well, you give it to Steve.
And a fat chance. Vanilla butter bean.
Yum.
And I believe that says it's a turtle bar.
Yeah, so much caramel turtle bar stuff.
Yeah, vanilla buttercream turtle bar.
And it's signed by someone named Yum.
That would be Matthew.
Yeah, Matthew's Chocolates, Hillsboro, North Carolina.
Well,
That's
if
great.
you
That
need help breaking that in half, because there are two of you, Bob has the chainsaw down in the truck.
That's great. We may need a dolly to roll it out. It is quite heavy.
That's really something. Well, Matthew, thank you as always, and thank you for your support.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
so-
Thank
And
you.
y'all get over to Matthew's and buy all of your mid-October chocolate because you need mid-October chocolate. Everything is sold out right now, but he takes off Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday to load up the shop. So the key day to get there is Wednesdays.
Oh,
That's
that
the
is a
secret
handy
of
tip.
Hillsboro.
Yes. it
So,
is.
Bob, tell us about where the video stream is happening and where it will be archived and accessible over time.
At Whoop Ass the Hat, at WHUP, Pass the Hat on all of your favorite streaming services, and those streaming services are Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Facebook and YouTube keep them for as long as those services exist, so ostensibly forever. Twitch keeps them for 2 weeks.
They have those in the UK too, just in case all of Steve's followers were wondering.
And
notice we
WHU
didn't mention Twitter because Elon Musk has risen like a phoenix to
that
retake,
guy.
and he's going to let all the horrible people back into Twitter. We're looking forward to that.
Interesting
gross.
times. And
Yeah.
you were about to mention the
Yes.
servers, right?
Well, yeah, so our show is not, you can access it from any European Union country, which is not true of everything I've noticed on the internet. You can't,
Right.
you go to some countries and they cut it off, but in all of my travels, I've always been able to listen to the show and it makes me feel at home. So when you go back to England,
I'll
tell
make
all
sure
your
I
friends.
do, and I'll make sure Matthew, the chocolate maker, gets broadcast and known about in England. You know,
Yes.
Well, that sounds
Might-
brilliant.
popping out to buy a bar might be a bit tricky, but you know, we'll make sure he hits the airwaves over there.
Well, you need to hit the airwaves with some of your fantastic music. What are you playing for us next?
Well, I thought the theme was getting kind of dark and spooky there, so I'm going to go and say this is a ghost song, actually, an odd one.
Sweet.
I lived for a bit on a boat, on what's called a narrow boat in England. It's like a barge, you know. And I was just driving home one twilight, and there was in a very nice place, reverie. I think may have had a glass of gin and tonic in my hand.
As one does.
Yeah, well, when, you know, you're drunk in charge of a boat doing 3 miles an hour isn't particularly dangerous. Anyway, I just saw this odd picture of a girl, just as the sun was going, looking into the waters. And because I thought she caught my attention, I lost my attention on steering, and the narrowboat started to head across the canal. And by the time I'd kind of got the boat back under control, she disappeared. But completely disappeared. She couldn't have walked away because I was still seeing the retreating.
As if she hadn't been there the whole time.
First place.
Was that in Oxford? Did you keep the boat in Oxford?
Yeah, keep the boat on Oxford to Canal. So this is, well, I don't know if it's a goat song, but it's called Blues on a Summer's Day. And for some particular reason, it's doing very well on Spotify in Athens.
Okay. Hey now.
No, that's a different song. That's the one we played last time. Jenny, she is waiting with the setting sun, been contemplating how the day had run. Bird flies high and cries some, cloud drifts by and hides some. Jenny, she is waiting the setting of the sun. Don't fly to Georgia, don't fly to Spain, don't go chasing galleons along the Golden Main. Knight in shining armor, cowboy in the hay. When you're feeling lonely, with the blues on the summer's day. She sees a strange reflection in the old mill pond, like a thief a-calling from the great beyond. Golden chains and silver floating down the river. She sees a strange reflection in the old mill pond. Don't fly to Georgia, don't fly to Maine, don't go chasing galleons along the Spanish Main. Knight in shining armor, cowboy in the hay. When you're feeling lonely, with the blues on a summer's day. Jenny bends her steps to the curving of the road, feels a little darker, as if the clock had slowed. The haunted note that finds her, forgotten words that bind her. Jenny bends her steps, the curving of the road. Don't fly to Georgia, don't fly to Maine, don't go chasing galleons along the Spanish Main. Knight in shining armor, cowboy in the hay. When you're feeling lonely, the blues, the summer's day.
Very nice.
What are your songwriting influences? I know you've spoken of your friend who has passed who got you to writing the songs,
Yeah.
but your songs really grab a person. They're just very compelling to listen to. So who, along the course of your life, who have been your musical influences? Because you have a really unique and precise way of playing guitar, and your voice is very clear. Your wording is poetic. Who started that?
That's probably the nicest compliments I've ever had in my life. So thank you. But that was
Thank you.
glass of water to recover from that moment.
There's bourbon just to your right
Yeah,
shoulder.
I remember that from last time. Now, I have always... I'll tell a long story short. My mother used to sing all the time.
Oh,
Yeah, and... I mean, I was one of those kids who couldn't sing, but she'd sing in the car, she'd sing cooking, she'd sing doing everything. She'd sing when she was happy, when she was sad, when she was cross, she'd sing. And so I just grew up thinking that's what you should do, you know. And
It is what you should do.
yeah, you should do it, and it's a healthy thing. But what was very strange, in England we have traditional folk music, and I have completely the wrong voice for traditional English folk music. And anyway, I wasn't that particularly interested in singing songs about things I didn't know.
right.
And so singing about whale fishers and ploughboys and all this sort of stuff didn't seem that interesting. So I used to just quietly write my songs, and like all of us, and many of us in this room, we all joined rock bands and did this stuff. But I kept writing these little songs to myself, and some of them made their way onto rock albums, but never felt at home, And then about 14, 15 years ago, someone said, you really sing kind of Americana, but you're not allowed to call it that in the UK. And it was a real penny drop to go and listen again to Guy Clark and Townes Van
Oh, I
Zandt
bet.
and all these people, and realise you can write very contemporary, beautifully crafted vignettes. I mean, those guys were craftsmen beyond belief,
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought, I'm home.
Yep.
I'm home. And I was sort of listening, I was writing these songs, and I was driving them, CDs have all fallen out of fashion. And on our motorways, on our, highways, you just get these big bins of old CDs. You could buy 3 for $1, or 3 for £1. And there was 3, I got these out, and one says Americana. So I thought, I'll listen to some of this stuff. And I turned up, and I drove up, I was driving down to London, and I just had tears streaming on my face, because every one of those songs I already knew, because my mother had sung them to me
Oh my
40
gosh.
years previously. How she knew this stuff, I have absolutely no idea. I mean, she came from the northeast of England, a working class shipbuilding family. How she'd heard this stuff, I don't know, but the obvious ones, but people like you've forgotten now, at Burl Ives, she was singing as, as an Americana singer, not as a cuddly actor,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Fabulous. So that, I don't know, and I'm just obsessed with it. And that's why I love coming here. I come here because, I've been lucky and blessed enough to travel my whole life. And there are more musical forms formed around these states, great states of North Carolina, the Carolinas, and Tennessee, Georgia, Louisiana, probably, than the rest of the world put together. There's something about the way people construct music here that just felt like coming home.
Everybody, we are here with Steve Bonham. You can learn all about Steve's travels and adventures at thelongroadband.net. And Steve and his partner, Rob McHale, robmchale.com. And we have a nice amount of time, but not unlimited time. So how about we fill the rest of our time with music, Rob?
Sure. Bob, do you have any water over there on your land? Do you have
Multiple creeks run through it, yes.
Well, I would imagine.
There's an old mill site and a 30-foot tall stone dam with the water falling over. So, yeah, we got water.
Great. Probably in times past, somebody might have had a still back there.
I would not be surprised.
Bob might still have one.
Shh. I took one of my old neighbors way back in the back a few years ago, and he said, well, Rob, he said, you see the dam? I said, yeah. He says, there was a still there. This was years ago. And he said one day, he was a very religious and church-going fellow, and
Of course.
he said, I went over there and I saw a few jars laying on the ground, and I decided I would let them part with 2 of them. So I took one and I put it by this rock, and he described the rock, and I was in the golf cart, and I took him over there. He hadn't been there in 50 years, and I showed him the rock. I knew what he was talking about. And I said, well, it's not here. And he goes, no, it's not. And I said, what did you do with the other one? And he said, oh, I drank that. But just anywhere here in the South where there was a creek or a waterway, somebody was using it to make some of the product there, some
Absolutely.
moonshine. And then they also used to transport it. During the Depression, about 90% of the moonshine in the East Coast was distributed from the South. And they used to drive it in the 40 Ford Coupe. When that
got NASCAR, yes.
yes, and when that came out, people were just elated because you could put your whole family in it and drive to church or go to a picnic
Or outrun the revenuers.
outrun the revenuers with up to 200 gallons in there. So yeah, some of the Junior Johnson, Willie Clay Call, Wild Bill Blair, that was another great one. So this is a song. It's called 40 Ford Coupe. I got a 40 Ford Coupe running all night, taking the back road, stay out of sight. 99 gallons coming from a creekside still. The law says they'll catch me, but I don't think they ever will. I got a flathead 8, 4 on the floor, coming down the mountain, bringing some more. 99 gallons coming from my daddy still. The law says they'll catch me, but I don't think they ever will. I don't think they ever will. I saw Willie Clay Call, Junior too, riding with the devil, chasing the moon. The law says they'll catch him, but I don't think they ever will. While they're running fresh corn in these Carolina hills. The law says they'll catch him, but I don't think they ever will. I don't think they ever will. I got a 40 Ford Coupe running all night, taking the back road, staying alive. The law says they'll catch me, but I don't think they ever will. While I'm running fresh corn in these Wilkes County hills. The law says they'll catch me, but I don't think they ever will. I know that they never will.
Rob McHale here on Pass the Hat. Good stuff.
Well, guys, we have time probably for one song each
Okay.
to complete our round, and we've really been enjoying this time with you tremendously. Thank you for coming down the mountain.
Thanks for having us. Great to see you all.
It's brilliant. And keep doing what you're doing, because it's just wonderful to find a place where they're still playing live music and encouraging local people.
It's the most fun I've had on a Friday night for going on 6 years now. I don't think we're stopping.
That's really sweet. Yeah. I was going to thought you said today.
Also today.
Okay, this is, I mentioned my mother there, and this is the last song I wrote, just went on the album, just squeezed in at the end. As I said before, my mother grew up in a working class area of Newcastle upon Tyne, which is, one time was the biggest shipbuilding place in the world, I think, for a while, but it's a hard place where people made, tough environment, very poor, often unemployed during the 30s. But Newcastle is on the coast of a big area of land in England called Northumberland. Northumberland is probably the wildest place in England. It's right on the borders with Scotland. And, our version of the Wild West was probably 150 years before yours, because literally it was cattle rustling, sheep stealing, murderous bands of people on horseback until, the mid-19th century. But come the start of the Second World War, the German bombers, it was a very short hop for them to fly over and bomb Newcastle. So a lot of the children were moved out to go and stay in villages up in the Northumberland moors. And my mum was one of them. And she used to talk very fondly of this. When she was a little girl, she'd been about 9, up suddenly to going from these endless streets of cobbled streets and houses to suddenly being in all this expansive space. And then just this year I was driving out with my partner, and she said, "Oh, show me where the mum was evacuated to." And we drove over this hill and just rolling, hills going for miles. And she said, "This must have been like coming to the moon for your mother." She would not have seen this before, and I just really struck me. I'd never thought of it like that before. And this is the song. It's called Half Moon on a Far Hill. And it's a very short one, so you'll still have time, Rob. The middle verse, the second half of this middle verse, but that is what shepherds, the language they use when they're talking to the dogs as they're rounding up the sheep. In case you think it's got a bit weird. Skull on a bus heads to the west, away from the cold smoke, the street she knew best. Crash of the hammer, shriek of the steel, and the half moon on a far hill, frost in the fields. Such a wide open space, a house made of stone, ride on the old horse to carry her home. Weigh my lass, that'll do, says Jim out on the lee of a half moon on a far hill, frost in the fields. Start of the river flows to the coast. Wild goat is watching the hawk on the post. She brings a song to the hearth to light a memory of a half moon on a far hill, frost in the fields, of of a half moon on a far hill, frost in the fields.
Well, we talked earlier briefly about the water issue.
Yes.
And, you know, I used to have cattle, and I remember one year it got really dry here, so much that we had to import hay and from Tennessee. But I could actually hear the cattle walking on the pasture. It sounded like they were walking on Rice
So
Krispies.
it was a hard pan
I
there.
could hear them
Yeah.
in the house. And so, but this is a song called When the Water Is Gone, and just, you know, to make us think a little bit about some of the things that we take for granted. So, and thanks again. Great to see everyone. And, it was cold in the hills in the middle of May. We were all praying for rain. The grass had turned brown all over town, and the cattle were feeling the pain. What will we do if the rivers run dry and the raindrops quit falling down from the sky? How will we water our lawn after the water is gone? How will we all get along when the water is gone? Someday we'll change our water and waves, stop sending it all down the drain. Then we can hope that the water will flow and the clouds will keep throwing the rain. What will we do if the rivers run dry and the raindrops quit falling down from the sky? When you climb up the mountain
Oh, dear listener, you've experienced a fantastic hour of music with Rob McHale and Steve Bonham. We're at the part of the show where we turn off the live stream, but you don't have to stop listening. We're going to turn off the live stream in a minute and have the guys wave goodbye. But you can stick around and listen to the high definition audio that we broadcast always. If you're in Hillsborough, that's FM 104.7, or worldwide at WHUPFM.org and via the TuneIn app. So stick around. An exciting part of the show is coming up, and that's what the last 30 minutes of the show, where our musical guests bring in a playlist of what inspires them, what they think you should be listening to when you're just living your life and listening to the music. So we're going to do that. We're going to jump into that playlist in just a minute. But Steve and Rob, if you can look into the camera and wave goodbye to the live stream, we'll tell those folks goodbye. But again, y'all don't have to go anywhere. Catch us at WHUPFM.org, FM 104.7.